It's not a bad pace car to set things off, but the cars behind are eager to get to battle here in Durban, Steve.
Seen a lot of great cars, a lot of them from overseas, including Formula One, so it's been great to be part of this festival. But our own Elite Motor Racing Series, world-class drivers, world-class racing is about to just unfold on Durban.
Yeah, and like this track up, they come side by side now and start to get ready. You can see that SLR pulling onto the sideline now, getting completely out of the way. It's now up to Michael Stephen to dictate the pace. Remember, into turn one, and coming onto the main straight, there are going to be double yellow flags. So it's line astern until we come out of turn one, and then into turn two, the green flag should be waving. Look at how tense this is. Man, I would love to be behind the wheel of one of these cars right now as they come down towards the start line. Michael Stephen waiting for that green flag. As soon as he gets it, he's going to be flying. He gets on the loud pedal, and away he goes into turn one. Right behind him, Etienne van der Linde, not letting anybody get and sneak ahead. Melville Priest slots into three. Fourth place is Taylor. Fifth place, Chop Sapuka. As they go through turn one, you can see yellow flags waving frantically there now. And now into what is going to be probably the very difficult section to get right, if you can get it right. But you got to follow line astern through here, and then we are fully on racing now because the green flag has come out.
All right, so A, off without incident at the moment, and that makes a change, I can tell you. And closely behind, we'll be checking out some action from Class T. They're all going off the same way. Rules still apply, not only for Class A, but for Class T as well. So they'll still have that line astern, white line, and then, of course, the yellows disappearing after turn two.
Into the chicane now. Difficult part of the circuit. Get it all right. Taylor does that. Closes onto the back end of the Mueller sports machine there of Melville Priest, who's all over the back of his teammate, Etienne van der Linde. Van der Linde losing a little bit of ground there to Michael Stephen. Michael Stephen is absolutely hauling around here. That Engine Extreme Audi is definitely the car to beat here in race one. And I don't know if anyone's going to have the pace to run with him. Down in Class T, though, it is Gennaro Bonafide, who is right behind Jacques Joubert, and almost side by side as they come out there. Brilliant stuff. Joubert going at it with one of the Class A backenders, and you can see that Gennaro's gone flying past him too. That is John Mayer, and this is Lee Thompson's view as they head towards the final turn.
Well, how great is this at the moment? They came into the series last round, debuting the cars, said, look, we need some development. They brought them down to Durban Street Circuit. Wonderful to see the minis as well. And Lee Thompson currently in third.
Yeah, on a podium position. That's the way to go, Thompson. Brilliant stuff there in that Castrol Mini. And now coming up onto the back end of Jacques Joubert, who leads out Class T. You can see that is Modak. Then you've got Pinard. Pinard already lost a mirror by the looks of things, and he's gone a little bit too wide and clipped one of those concrete barriers. Don't want to be doing that too often.
All right, so the Subaru.
Oh, problem here for Modak. Modak's just clipped the wall too. So Modak hasn't been able to get ahead of the Class T cars. He loses out to Pinard, but Modak, yeah, look at the damage on the front end of that car. He just banged the wall, and he manages to get going again, but it's Joubert all over the back of him now.
Yeah, see a little bit of smoke. I think that's just tyre rubbing on bodywork at the moment. Hopefully it's only that and not oil.
So Indy Oil GTI all over the back of the EPS Courier Services Audi. This is the non-supercharged version of that Audi. Remember, that's the A4, not the S4. And behind him comes all the supercharged and force-inducted cars, including this one, Lee Thompson's Castrol Mini.
Let's not forget there's another Mini out there in the form of Gavin Cronje as well, so they'll be hoping to fly the Mini flag very, very high today. Oh, look at this. Beautiful shots. First corner. It is a very, very tricky right-hander, and they get on the pace really quickly. So the action thick and fast right now in Class T, and there's Formato closing in on that Mini of Lee Thompson. Too many shifts behind him. They desperately need points.
Yeah, they're going to have to move up the field, considering the fact that the championship leader is out and probably won't make it out here at all this weekend. Graham Nathan, we go on board with Michael van Rooyen. This is the Williams Hunt Opel OPC, and he's closing onto the back end of Modak now. Can he find a way past that Audi? He seems to have a little bit of extra pace. That Audi's damage is definitely hindering him, and Modak, well, he slides through only just to keep out the Opel, but it's a matter of time because you can see already 5 Class T cars have got ahead of Modak, and Modak is just going to circulate and try and get the points.
All out of turn 4 with no incidents at the moment. There is a flag depicting a change of surface, so they have to be careful and watch out for that because things could go horribly wrong very quickly.
We go on board now with Gary Formato closing on the back end of Lee Thompson. He once passed. Fortunately, having a little bit of problems with the front-wheel drive ST, and it really hasn't come to grips just yet, but Formato will still drive around those problems and see if he can just close in and get as many points in the bag to close in on the championship leader, that is, Graham Nathan, who's watching this from the sideline.
Well, Gary Formato has always been one to advocate the fact that he doesn't believe in luck, but you know what? I think there's an element of luck in anything that you do.
When you're in a street circuit, Toot, there's plenty of it. It usually is the bad stuff, but right now Formato's hanging on to the back end of Thompson. Thompson, one of the best drives we've seen out of him, considering that car is still under a huge amount of development. Big left-hand sweeping corner, hard on the brakes, right-hand 90. Here we go, and turning in. Formato closes up, but he hasn't got quite enough pace yet to get past the Mini.
what's been quite apparent at the moment is the fact that Class A and Class T are now really in the mix.
Yeah, they certainly are, and you can see the battle between the second of the Audis there, Melville Priest, and Taylor's eating up. And here's Taylor, as we said, kind of like we see in Canada with the F1s, down the big straightaway, uses the slipstream of the Audi and blasts past him under braking. But look at that, Priest comes straight back at him. They're almost side by side, but Taylor's got it for turn 2.
Oh yeah, he has to be careful. There's no ways you get two cars going through there side by side. That's no doubt. In fact, lots of parts of this track, you just can't get two cars side by side.
You can barely get one in certain sections, dude. It's that tight. But it's awesome to be back down in Durban. And of course, Westbank Super Series here as part of the Top Gear Festival. And what a festival we're putting on here. There's no doubt about some of the best conditions and some of the best racing we've seen all weekend has come from this particular category.
Last time they were here was 4 years ago, and for many, they've never been here. So it is a level playing field. I mean, it's not like they've got a lot of data for this racetrack. In fact, they don't.
Gary Famato sneaking up on Thompson and sneaks through, very similar to what we just saw between Taylor and Priest. Famato must have had a little bit of an onboard camera somewhere and watched that maneuver and pulled it on Thompson. They go through turn 2. Thompson looks in his rearview mirror. He's got Sean Germany on his tail, and he's got Famato ahead of him. So here's the meat in the sandwich between the two Fords.
What puzzles me is the fact that we haven't seen Gavin Cronje in the same shot. Normally, Thompson and Cronje are normally thereabouts.
I think he's just battling behind Michael van Rooyen at the moment and hasn't been able to find a way through just yet. You can see the pace is definitely picking up at the front end. And Jacques Joubert, the Stiglet, has got this down to a fine art. He really is just cruising through the circuit, and right on his tail is the second of those GTIs, but it's the GTI 6, the Ferrotto-sponsored car of Gennaro Bonafide, sitting in second.
Well, I think his age is also counting in his favour, because when you're that young and you're a rookie, you're fearless.
Yeah, no fear is the option there for the two drivers at the front end. These guys are a little bit more saddle-weary and, of course, a bit more seat time than the front two, and they're going to realise that if they do push this hard, there's a possibility of something going wrong and ending up with your car on the side of the barrier or even over it.
Still on Class T, I was very, very impressed to watch Gennaro Bonafide circulating in practice. Did some good lap times as well, so he'll be happy with the way that the team is performing, particularly the car.
Well, considering the fact he only got you this morning, he's going to be very happy to get onto the front row after only 2 laps of the circuit in its entirety. Is a brilliant effort there from the young man. But let's see if he's able to keep it all together now and keep it on the track. As you can see how hard Germany is starting to put the pressure on the back end of that Castrol Mini.
So, incidents are plenty so far in the early stages of this particular race, and most of that in qualifying, a few little nudges, and definitely there'll be rubbing racing.
Yeah, rubbing is racing is how they call it, but Anthony Taylor starting to close down on his teammate now. It's BMs 2 and 3 on the road. They want to catch the Audi in front, but they also don't want to end up in the wall. So let's see how Taylor puts the pressure onto Van der Linde. Van der Linde has got some street race experience, him and his brother participating when they launched Mini here in Durban a couple of years ago. And of course, they were out on a track a little bit further down the road than where we are right now, but definitely got some kind of concrete barrier experience behind his name, so he'll be able to keep out his teammate and should be able to stay in second place.
Certainly our superstars down from Johannesburg doing a sterling job, but just looking at some of the lap times of 1:03. Michael Stephen on it. In fact, it puts...
Thompson's
my word!
Thompson gets nicked there by Germany and put into the same barrier as we saw the Pertec BMW go into. That Castrol Mini might be second hand.
That's the race.
I think they're going to have to red flag this because he's in the same position. Here we see Michael Stephen. Yeah, there's the red flag coming out. He's taken the victory because as soon as the red flag comes out, we've done enough laps now for them to call the race. It's 6 out of 10. Oh. And there you go, cars pulling into pit lane. Stephen takes it, Etienne van der Linde in second, and Anthony Taylor will finish up in third. But let's have a look at that incident between the Thompson Mini and Sean Germany's ST Focus. It looked like Sean was going for a do-or-die maneuver. He tried to get it on the inside. Watch as they come through. This is a reverse angle. There goes Jacques Joubert and Gennaro Bonafide. Famato comes through for third. There's Germany up the inside and just tags the Mini and puts him in the wall.
He's going to get some asked questions about that. Stephen picks it up. Well done. Etienne van der Linde is second. Anthony Taylor third. Melville Priest. Chop Sabuka fifth in Class A.
Sixth place goes to Grunewald in the Subaru. Then Darren Lobb, Modak, Meyer in ninth, and Pinard eventually 3 laps down in 10th.
Michael, it was kind of obvious in this format of racing and how tight the track is. Qualifying was going to be key. You qualified first. You won out. The plan worked.
Yeah, most definitely. Qualifying was key. We started in front, managed to build a bit of a gap in the first lap. Now I was worried about the BM behind us on the first lap. If it was close enough, we could have a go into the first corner. But we managed to do that and then just keep a nice steady lead from there.
And then the red flag came out. We knew it was going to come, I guess.
Yeah, I think, inevitably it was going to come out sometime along the race. But at least we did a few laps and, we had a race of it, so it wasn't just one lap and in. So, yeah, it was good to be out there and, good to drive on the circuit.
Well, Etienne, like I was just discussing with Anthony, very hard to unleash the big ponies on the BMW down these straights. It all has to be done off the start.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the fact that we started straight out the pits with no warm-up lap, that put us even at more of a disadvantage. That gave Michael just a slight jump in the beginning. But after that, once we got tyres up to temperature, we settled down. We had pretty much the same pace. It was pushing hard, but within margins.
I don't know about margins, dude. You were coming around that turn completely lit sideways. Was that trying to get some more temperature in the tyres or what?
No, just using all the track.
And big BMW horsepower, unfortunately not able to be unleashed on the little track.
Yeah, no, look, it is a bit difficult for us. We've got one long straight here where we can let the legs hang loose a little bit, but on the whole, it's quite a tight circuit, so it's all in and out stuff. So the Audis aren't getting too much of an advantage over us. Although at the start, that's where they do get the gain because our tyres are still very cold. We don't get enough time to warm them up, but I managed to pass one of them, which is good. So. I think there's potential for the car to run in the front, but the biggest thing is just to respect the walls. To move them around is not easy, and you end up second best normally. I mean, we've already lost 2 cars this weekend, so we don't want to have any more of those.
Streets are friendly to the Stiglet as he takes his inaugural win for Bridgestone Production Cars Class T. Bonafide in second for Marto Thompson in Germany, your top 5.
Next up, Michael van Rooyen in a very, very sick OPC Opel. Gavin Cronje in the other Mini. And then Ibrahim Levy.
Jubs, it's funny how this works out. You go straight from your first pole position ever to your first win ever. I love it when it works out that way.
It's amazing, really. I've got no words to explain how ecstatic I am just standing in front of you. Really, I must just thank the team, Graham Nathan. The setup is superb on this car. The champion, it is his championship car, definitely for sure. Everything dialed in perfectly. The race start went perfectly, and I can just thank all the sponsors, Indy Oil, especially the Centro Oil, definitely. Amazing.
Gennaro, second place will probably feel like a win to you as far as the championship goes because you're up there just ticking off points every single weekend, and even down on the street race, you're up there.
No, for sure. I mean, a great race. The guys have worked hard for this race, and coming down here, I obviously missed yesterday's practice session, so qualifying was 2 laps out there. So, going through turn 1 thinking, okay, let me learn the track in the first race is quite epic, but it was a good race, solid race, got close to the wall a couple times, a bit of mirror clipping on the walls, which is epic. This is how it should be.
Gary, all about just consolidation this time around. If you couldn't qualify first, it was going to be very, very hard to win this one.
Yeah, it was indeed. But you got to have the right setup for the track, and we are struggling with our front end grip on the car. So this is the kind of circuit where you can't run off by an inch or a couple of mils, whatever it is. So you need to drive accordingly. With the kind of practice we've had here, it wasn't really what we need. We could have done with some more, but hats off to Jacques and to Gennaro. I think they both did a great job. I mean, Gennaro only got here this morning, so both those cars going really well.
Talk us through the front end. Are we talking about like a little bit of understeer or just spinning up? Because there's a lot of power down here, of course.
Yeah, that's the thing with the front wheel drive car, and it's the problem. You've got to brake it, you've got to turn it, you've got to accelerate it, and then if you're not dialed in, it basically eats the tyres. But here it wasn't really an issue of tyres, it was just basically keeping off the wall. So a bit disappointing actually. I thought we'd have a better race and be able to be in it, but we were just basically hanging in there and just waiting for the checkered flag.